Hi guys, Vinny from Vinny's Vibe. In this week's edition, we are going to be talking with so many people within the golf industry, from beginners to pros to people who take care of these beautiful golf courses all around the golf industry. We're going to have a really beautiful week with amazing guests speaking, all in celebration of Masters Week. This is Masters Week, and this is Vinny's Vibes. And welcome to another edition of Vinny's Vibes. This is Vinny from The Vibe Show. Hey, I wanted to first say thank you so much to the Flagler County Drug Court Foundation for sponsoring this show. They have a golf tournament that's coming up on May 24th. We would love for you guys to be on board. Per golfer, it's about $100, so it's not too much, and it's a great opportunity for a lot of businesses to get together, a lot of people to get together for a really great time for a really amazing cause. And again, we would just really, they would appreciate your support. But in other news, this is episode 3 of our Masters Week podcast. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to Zach Tutak for coming on the show. Zach, say hello.
Hello, how's it going? Thank you, Vinny, for having me. Excited to be here.
Hey, man, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm super excited for our talk, because there's so much that you have done and seen in the golfing industry, and coming from where you came from now to being a golf tour professional, which is something that you're really aspiring to work towards. Currently he's, tell me a little bit about your occupation and what you're doing now and where you're headed.
So yeah, as you were saying, Vinny, I'm working to become a PGA professional right now.
Yeah.
I'm in the associate process. But for me, I'm a high school math teacher right now. And
wow, cool.
Also the girls golf coach as well.
Wow. Okay. So on that scale, right? That's really interesting. So on top of being a women's golf coach, right? You're a 5th grade teacher, right?
High school.
High school. I apologize.
Yeah,
I apologize.
School, yeah.
I don't know why I had it on my hand. Yeah. So you're you're a high school teacher at Pedro Menendez High School, right around the corner. And on top of that, you're also working on doing this. How are you balancing all of that?
Well, the good thing is I got a lot of support at home. So
that's great.
I made the transition. I played college baseball. So
wow, cool.
I'm a Flagler Palm Coast grad, played college ball, and once I got done playing, it was just so easy to get into golf. And even though I was still coaching, it just wasn't as fun for me, because I'm the type of coach that if there's a position that needs to be filled, I would just go play it. But now as a golf coach, well, I still get to hit the ball, I still get to practice, I get to walk, and so there's different aspects of the game that I started to fall in love with being a girls golf coach.
It's like a mutual thing, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, it's satisfying for you to be around the game of golf, but at the same time, you're teaching so many other people, so many other kids to really hone in their skills and their game.
And I've noticed as a high school girls golf coach, not a lot of other high school coaches for golf are golfers. They're kind of just like filling in some spot, and it's funny when I go to tournaments and they're like, "Is that the ruling on that?" I'm like, "How long have you been coaching? Like, it's just a lateral drop. Let's take the club lengths and get going."
Yeah, it's an easy process. So tell me a little bit about that, because like it is funny, because again, coming from baseball, just like you said, like it's the same kind of thing, right? Like when you talk about little league and like those little league coaches, and then you go into the high school, but you're seeing this from the high school perspective. What's that been like, for you watching, adults while also playing with some of these kids,
Oh, yeah. So when I first took the job, I was like super gung-ho. I'm like, I'm coming with a baseball background of just training and practicing. And the team that I took over had 7 players. Well, once I started to ask for, here's a practice plan, here's workout times, these are the days we're going to be the course, I went from 7 girls to 2 girls
Oh my
in a
God.
matter of a month.
Because you had structure.
Yes.
Interesting. Oh my God. What a concept.
They dipped
Wow.
out, but was so interesting is the 2 girls that hung around.
Yeah.
One of them right now, she's in her senior year at Embry-Riddle,
Yeah.
playing golf there.
Oh, that's huge.
And then the other one is has a lacrosse scholarship in Alabama.
That's
So
incredible.
the 2 girls that stuck around were already going to be college athletes.
So what you're saying is it's not about quality or quantity, it's about quality.
Right.
Right.
So
right.
it's interesting, and right now with the team that I have coming up, I have 3 returners. All of them are going to be seniors, and 2 of them never played golf before until they got to high school.
Are you serious?
And one of them, she didn't start playing until July, before the season started in August. I got her to shoot a 110 at the regional tournament.
Oh my God.
So 3 months of tutelage, boom, made almost broke 100.
So this has been a journey for not only these students, but for you too. I mean, I can only imagine, you're coming from, you come from a baseball background, which all of us can compare to. It is not an easy transition whatsoever.
Oh.
So tell me a little bit about that transition from somebody who played high school baseball for somebody that now goes into golf, but now not only does golf, but now is coaching it, teaching it, learning how to get to a new level of teaching in the game of golf. Tell me a little bit about that process and what that was like.
So I had to examine how my game is, and that's when I realized, well, you have all these people who focus on swing structure. Well, I wanted to teach them how to play golf, with the type of swing that they already could, emulate from their own talent.
Right.
And how I like to start teaching someone golf is, here's your driver, how far can you hit it? Because if you can't get off the tee, you can't play.
Right.
So I go right into that, and then we just start to piece the game together. And one thing that I know that my team can do, they might not be the best golfer out there, but they can play golf and keep up with other good golfers. And, with us being in St. Johns County, 2 years ago, Beachside High School won a state tournament. Well, that same year, we played them probably 5 times, and they smoked us every year. But my girls could keep up with that level of golf because they knew how to play. And even if they had bad shots, they knew how to recover. They knew how to keep the game going. And we do have a limit, the max that we can do.
Right.
But they understood their game to play to that. So when I'm teaching them things like that, it's understanding the rules, understanding the etiquette. So it keeps the game moving. And now, even when they grow older, we don't have to worry about slow pace of play. Let's go. You don't have to.
Right. Because it becomes like more of like that life lesson. Like if they don't go pro, at least they're in a position where, if they're a business owner, or like, let's say they want to go and, just golf with just people, like it just makes the game that much enjoyable because they understand the rules. They understand how it works.
Right.
They understand that 3 mulligans is not how you play the game. Right.
And they're pretty good in the sense of, I have one girl, she's like, man, I played with my dad, and this guy was like giving me all these putts from like 4 feet. And she's like, I know you make me putt everything out. And I was like, and she's like, I shot like an 83. And I'm like, yeah, no, you need to make all those putts.
No. You need to make all those putts if you're going to play. Yeah, exactly.
So it definitely has taught me a lot of things in the sense of patience as well with my game. And I mean, I have 2 younger daughters. I have a 5-year-old. She'll be 6 this month coming up. And then a 4-year-old, and I'm teaching them how to play golf.
Wow. How's that going?
It's hard to get them to want to play. It's more of just like, hey, do you think you want to do it?
Right.
And they get up there, they swing. My 5-year-old's got a great swing right now. I focus on, did you hit the ball? Okay, good.
I have a question. Is it sometimes like agonizing sometimes to see your 5-year-old or your 6-year-old just consistently say, hey, look what I could do, Dad.
Yep.
And then constantly hit it right on the money like every single time?
Her lag putting is tremendous. If I got something from 40 feet, hey, come over here and putt this for me. And she'll run it right up to the hole.
That's insane.
But then if it's in a 3-foot radius, it'll take her 10 times to put it in there. It's wild.
I'm gonna hold off on that because my wife is a very good driver. She can drive. She's a very good driver.
Oh yeah.
And she can hit long range putts.
Nice. So she's a perfect scramble partner.
Perfect scramble partner. I enjoy hitting my irons. That's my fun part.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about like, from your experience. So like, so now you've gotten to the point of like teaching these kids, but like before that, right? Like when you were in high school, did you play golf at all, or was that?
So I kind of give my dad a bad attitude about this. He kind of hid golf from me. He says he doesn't, but he was a football, baseball, lacrosse player.
Okay, three
And
sport
so
athlete.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so like for me, it was like football, baseball. We lifted,
right.
but golf was like my grandpa's game,
Mm,
and I never went with him. I never did any of those things. And after my sophomore year, I had major surgery.
mm.
I had a tumor that was the size of a cantaloupe that was removed,
Oh my gosh!
and
Wow.
I ended up developing a heart condition from the surgery, and
Okay.
that I kind of removed myself from football. And
God, what was that like? I'm sorry, just getting into
it
that.
was quite traumatic. I
Mm.
missed like 3 months of school. Summer was all just kind of recovering.
Mm.
But my dad got me through it, getting me back up to shape.
It's important to have that
And
support.
when I decided to stop playing football, a couple of my buddies were like, "Hey, you want to come play golf?" And I'm like, "What's golf? It's this. There's nothing tough about that. Where's the
Oh.
grit?" And I
Yep.
was so
Yep.
bad the first time I played. I was like, "I'm gonna come here until I figure this out." And then come my junior year, we all tried out for the team. We were like alternatives, and then the next year, the golf team was literally a couple baseball players and some football players that didn't want to play anymore. And
Mm.
we went from these trying to be rough and tough football, baseball players say, "Hey, let's be golfers now." And ever since then, it's just been playing golf, and I
So
still go on an annual trip with one of those guys every May. So
that's
it's
awesome.
just been that type of game to replace that competitive level,
Mm.
and taking the same like work ethic and practice and playing. Like it just, I don't know why I didn't play golf since I was like 10 years old, and
Yeah.
I grew up right across the
Well,
street from Pine Lakes Golf Course, and go now more than I ever did.
well, that's interesting because we actually had a one-to-one. Well, actually, we just had a recent podcast with Brian Plummer. He's the superintendent actually at Pine Lakes Golf Club. It's interesting you talk
Nice.
about that, about the course condition. And once he took over, that course just took off. But um,
Definitely better than what I've seen in the past. I mean, I just played there a couple weeks ago, and I think the last time I might have been there was 2 years ago, and it's night and day.
yeah, yeah, and if you talk to him, I tell you one thing, he is very very much thinking about the next step. He's every time that he looks at it, he's like, it could be just a little bit better. It could be just a little bit better. And I feel like it doesn't that like relate to our golf game, right? I mean, like every day we're like, can you just be just a little bit better today? Dude, you just shot a 69.
Yeah. Well, hey, if I would have made that putt, it could have been a 68.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, and tell me a little bit about like like going from that perspective, right? Of going from like the because I played baseball and football too, like the rough and tough, misfits, trying to
Oh yeah.
going from that league to now golf, where now you're in collar, your attire matters. Tell me a little about that. Tell me a little bit actually about what that was like for you in high school, and then now with you coaching, women's golf or ladies golf and professionals, you're potentially working with in the future, kind
Mhm.
of kind of grooming them into that kind of golf atmosphere.
So I I'll say the main reason why I don't try to coach the boys golf team is egos.
uh,
I hear too many times it was like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Two-Tack, I hit my 4-iron 230 yards." Yeah.
how many times?
Yeah. Where'd it go? There's no way. If lucky, you hit it 200.
Right.
And so with the girls, they're not that way. So
Mm,
it's way more easier to be coachable, and hearing them listen and actually taking the things you're talking about and trying to put those in practice
mm.
instead of just being ego players out there.
That's huge.
Now, I have this one girl, she's just super, super smart.
Yeah.
And so she can't handle the contradictions in golf. Like, you don't hit a golf ball straight with a straight swing, it's got to have some type of a curve to it.
Hmm.
And she just loses her mind on that. She's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, quit being so smart, just try this.
Just try it and
You
figure it
know?
out and see what happens.
And I'm excited for her to come back this year,
Mm,
and it's an important world, anybody
right.
being around the game of golf, like you were saying, you change a lot of your attire. I mean,
Right.
I have finally turned into the guy that my hat's not on backwards.
Right.
My shirt's always tucked in. I always have my belt on.
You're not blasting the rap rock music on the golf course.
Not anymore. Well, maybe after like the first like 6 or 7 holes.
Yeah, get some country or some Bob Marley.
Oh yeah, gotta get the vibes.
Yeah.
Try to put the playlist together. And it's kind of changed the way how it is. And I mean, if I hear people talking about their golf game and even how I've got my players is, well, come show me.
Yeah.
You say you're that good? Let's see it.
Let's see.
Hey, my name's Chuck until you prove me wrong.
You say that you're a 1 handicap. Let's see what you got.
Right. And I mean, I've gotten it down there into the 6, but right now hanging about a 9.
Hey,
so.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I saw a study, actually. My father-in-law told me this, so I'm not leaving it to anybody. But but he told me that and I researched it. It's like the average amateur golf score, and this is not talking about amateur like PGA, like just regular people, is like mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. So don't be hard on yourself playing this game.
No. And I still feel skeptical about it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's good for a breakfast ball.
Oh yeah,
at least
here and there.
Here, you pulled it back. I mean, I got a buddy who jokes and says, "I do 2 out of 3 if I'm by myself. If I make it 2 out of 3, I count it."
You can't.
Like, dude,
come on, you can't do that. It's not how we. Do you know who you're golfing with, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a really quick break. And hear from our sponsor, Mike Feldbauer from the Flagler County Drug Court Foundation. You're going to want to hear it. Again, it's great about our great golf tournament. When we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Masters. We're going to talk about passion of golf. And we're really excited to hear Zach's prediction of what's going to happen at the Masters. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Mike Feldbauer from the Flagler County Drug Court Foundation, inviting you to our 3rd annual golf tournament on May 24th at Palm Harbor Golf Club. This is our one of our annual fundraisers. Help us help those in the community in recovery. Have a great day, good food by Loopers, some great gifts, some contests out there on the course. Come join us. For information, call me at 401-864-6997. or email me at mfeldbauer, FELDBAUER, @gmail.com. Have a great day.
And we're back with Zach Attack. Sorry, I had to do it.
All right. I go up there taking hacks.
So, going back into this, it is Masters Week, which is like, the best, and it's the Super Bowl of golf, right? So many PGA Tour players like look forward to this event. And it's not just, the Super Bowl of golf. I mean, like, this is something that all different walks of life, like if they watch one event during the year, it's like either the Super Bowl or the Masters, right? Tell me a little bit about like what the Masters means to you, and like what that looks like moving forward. And again, you teach female or women's golf. Tell me a little bit about like what they aspire to go to. Because they have their own major in the LPGA as well. Tell me a little bit about both of those type of events and like what that really means.
So when I think about the Masters, I think about missed opportunities of viewing for myself. So like, getting into golf at about 16, I still really didn't watch golf. Like I was like, I'm watching football, I'm watching baseball.
Neither did I, same thing.
And then now it really was throughout that period through COVID where I was like, I need to watch golf. Like, my buddy's like, how do you not know these guys? Like, I'm over here talking golf and you're playing more than me. You don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So for me now getting into the Masters, I'm like making new history for myself. So for me, I'd like to see a repeat. I'd like to see Scotty come back and snag one here. I'm a DeChambeau fan. I'd like to see him make some noise this year.
Yeah.
I know he's always bragging about how his game is and how he's coming in. I want to see it.
You want to see him come through with his words.
Oh yeah, he just had a good finish up down in Miami. So let's see what he does up in Georgia.
You know what? Actually, now that you bring that up, it's interesting that that you bring that up about Bryson and Scotty, and it can't be a little bit of golf without a little bit of craziness, and Jay Monahan, the whole
And now
PGA thing.
feels like I'm just going to be hitting bombs the whole single time. So
Yeah, well, yeah. So the cool thing about the Masters, right, is the fact that you're in a position now where you have the PGA Tour players playing, you have LIV golfers, in the mix of playing for the Masters, and then you also have you have these the kind of the in-betweeners, right? Like the Frank Couples, people from the senior tour, coming in, and it's funny because it's like the one event where all of these people from different walks of life are coming into one event. Speak to that for a little bit, and kind of like what your opinion is like on the game of golf just in general right now.
I mean, I'm still surprised that these two organizations for golf has stayed apart.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine taking those top players from Live and throwing them over in the PGA again. I mean,
Dude,
I mean, we have all-star content every single week,
profit in, profit
and
out,
I mean, I know Wu got his win, this past the following week, and Harmon had his win. Those are
Right.
huge, but I still think there's players that are on other tours that could beat those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand what
Right.
the conditions are with the golf, and anybody can go out there and win any day,
Right.
but just kind of keep pushing for that aspect. And
The consistency, right? I mean, a lot of these players that are playing in these other leagues, right? Like Sergio Garcia, John Rahm, for example. I mean,
Joaquin is always hot every week.
right, and so it's funny to look at this, to look at this whole, man, like you could say it's almost like it feels like a travesty because it's like because you have like these like really amazing players, but you have to, it's like, why do I have to choose between this and that? There has to be some sort of agreement that comes through, and I know there's a lot of politics and a lot of things that go into it, but I think we can both agree, just as fans of the sport together, let's make a deal.
Oh yeah, I mean, and we have a lot of golf. Like you still
Right.
got the DP World Tour,
Right.
Corn Ferry Tour is always doing good. There's just so much golf to be played.
Right.
And I don't mind in the sense of the monopoly that you can have with the PGA, but hey, come to something, agree, let's keep going, let's keep playing. I mean, the purse sizes are getting huge. I don't hear anybody complain about that.
Oh,
as much
heck
anymore.
no. 25 million. What was it for? Is it going to be for the Masters 25 million?
I think it was.
Because I know the players was like 20.
I think there was 20 when I looked earlier. But
Yeah.
I mean, what a payout!
I mean, for real. I mean, it's huge.
And then you're there forever for the rest of life if you win it. Do it.
Yeah. What a deal. Yeah. And well, tell me a little bit, because I'm curious, and I'm sure the audience is too, and kind of lying light on this, but like, what would like the dream be like when you look at the LIV and PGA Tour, if they were to come to some sort of deal, what do you think would that look like in regards to a PGA Tour schedule, like altogether, what that might look like for you?
So Bryson threw out this idea, and I'm kind of interested on it as well. So golf to me is an odd sport in the sense of growing up. So growing up all through golf, you're always by yourself. You're not on a team, and then all of a sudden you get, you have a middle school team that might come into play, but there's really not a lot of kids there. And then you get to high school and it's all team. And then you go to college and it's all team.
Right.
And then if you're good enough, well, then now you're by yourself again.
Yeah.
So
And they talk about the PGA being it is a lonely sport. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's been
and
a
with
lot
the
of
live, everybody's got the team. You have two chances to win individually and team. I mean, I liked when he was talking about, well, some of these courses need to buy teams, sponsor teams, then now you host events there. Well, now that can be how like your mid-day tournaments can be, because we just saw that with the SoFi League where these guys are playing on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Well, what's wrong with having those guys now go play at a course, kind of like how they do the Capital One
Yeah, the
shootout or competition
what
that they
is
have
it?
with
The
those?
TGL, the
Yeah.
TGL League. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's huge. And honestly, like if you have not seen a TGL League game, okay, the season's over, but you can get on, and it is so cool to see. I mean,
18 holes in like an hour and a half, 3 guys playing through the team. Like
people
it's a
heckling
lot.
and shouting at these
Right.
players like it's
So we've taken PGA people who the etiquette is being quiet, and then now we put them indoors and they treat it like it's live. So
it's incredible. I mean, it's funny, and I like that, and I like the way that Bryson thought about that. It's a really interesting idea, like to have like those that separate time. What I was thinking too. I mean, I don't know, how you feel about this, but like, which by the way, this is his show. I'm just coordinating, but but what I was thinking was the way they do it in NASCAR, right? Like it's a totally different sport, but they look at the individual driver, but they also have a team standings portion of it, to where at the end of the year there's like driver points and then there's team points that are able to take for the next season.
right.
And it would be kind of cool if the PGA could kind of think about, and the LIV could think about those type of things to kind of culminate it. So this way it's still a 4-team, or it's still a 4-day event, but at the same time, like there's 2 different things that can happen during that time. And then maybe have like those kind of events, just like you were talking about, like those like Tuesday, Wednesday events where, you can get involved and, wear shorts, right?
Right. Yeah.
You
Let's get comfortable.
Yeah.
But then, as much as you want to think team, I mean, and then this is the fault that kind of falls back on that is, well, then now how do you organize who's on what's team? I mean,
Right.
imagine trying to be
Team titleist.
right. I mean, these
Yeah.
guys are going to be stacking it, and then now you're dealing with free agency, and then this guy over here,
And then the politics get really, really strong into it,
Yeah.
right?
So I mean, as much as I'd like to see something like that, I really see how and why they're trying to keep it all individualized on these guys. Yeah, you can have this brand, but you're still out there, only working for you.
Right.
So I mean, it's
cool.
kind of tough. I mean, I wouldn't mind the exemptions. I think that the guys that have been on live, I think the PGA guys are always going to be better just from the duration of their seasons.
Right.
I mean, they're not playing 3 rounds; they're playing 4.
Four,
They have a
exactly.
tournament almost every single week, so
Right.
it kind of leads into how that conditioning is. And even with my high school team, I can tell we got to condition up until the first because we're walking. Those girls aren't sitting in golf carts, so
Exactly.
it's a big factor if we can come out and be in shape. And the goal is to, like, with high school golf,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your win-loss record is. All that matters is what happens when you come to the district tournament, how you do as a team individually to move on to regionals and then move on to states.
Right.
So, like, I mean, over my last 4 years coaching, maybe we've won 10 out of 40 matches, but I've gone to the regional tournament every single year.
Which is awesome.
So,
Yeah.
so we're doing enough to get out of our district. I just need.
So what's the goal? I mean, obviously I can imagine what the higher goal is, but
I mean, I always want to bring the team in to win a district,
Right.
which it hasn't happened at my school. And then I'd love just for an individual to make it to the state tournament. And it's the
Huge.
hard thing with that is I don't see that as me cultivating that player when they just show up. I just need someone who's been playing golf their whole life come to me and say, okay, hey, we'll work on this stuff, and I'm not just that traditional golf coach. My high school golf coach kind of showed me this is the practice you do on the range is great, but you got to practice the shot over the bunker. You got to practice a shot from in between the trees. You got to practice the shot right in the middle of the
Well, that was
fairway.
that's something that's interesting you bring up, because it was, Bryson DeChambeau actually said this, like he practices on the course. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't go to the driving range, at least this is what I found out in the Cigar Aficionado magazine anyways. So, like practicing that sport is so important. And I guess like my word of advice for anybody out there, and it's not very big, but get out there and play.
Yeah.
Don't go and, just go to the range a million times and say, oh, well, I don't know how it's going to work out there.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on that? Like, players that are kind of like on that edge, what is that, what would you tell them?
Mix it up. Like
Yeah.
you gotta mix it up. Like
Yeah.
for me, I love practice because I feel like that's gonna get me in my comfortable place for those types of difficult shots. And I highly doubt that Cam Smith's working on shots, where the ball's above his feet often. He just is so good at making solid contact that it doesn't matter where the ball is.
It just happens.
And, to learn all your distances, what clubs to hit, what your tendencies are, can make up for when you have a bad day. And, one of my practice plans is we clean the range. So our golf course is St. Augustine Shores.
Yeah.
So we will go in between hole 18 and the driving range and punch out all the balls that are in between the tree line there, just to get used to putting the ball out in the fairway.
Oh, I love that.
And then I'll say, well, how about you switch
So
to your
cool.
6-iron now and try to thread it between the trees that are 50 yards away?
That's so cool.
So just
Wow.
to mess around with that and, like I have fun with that at practice too, because now I get to work on some shots like that.
Right.
So, I mean, hitting a bad shot is actually good practice. Because
Right.
now you can see, well, that ball, especially when you're looking for it, well, you know how far it probably went, you know,
Right.
so you're not guessing. So it's
yeah, and it's funny because you brought up that. It's reminded me of like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I hit a shot with a 9-iron. I kind of did a like out of the woods shot that wound up on the green, and it was like an out of woods shot, and I twisted the club, and it kind of just rolled up there, and I'm like, did I just do that? It's like, it's like what you did, and then guess what happened the next shot that you hit your iron that you did a massive draw because you were trying to twist the club the last shot. So it's all about like that muscle memory. So tell me a little bit about, we talked a lot about your girls, we talked a lot about your girls, right? For the tour and, and going and playing high school golf. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself, like your aspirations now, because, you're going to, you're now in a position, what was it, associate for the,
yes,
for the pro.
For the PGA professional. Yeah. So I love teaching. I'm not saying I'm looking to leave teaching right now.
No.
But I'm looking to see what other type of options there are.
Right.
I just enjoy playing so much, and I've had good success. I'm a part of the Grint Tour, GRINT, the app. They also got a rangefinder now.
Yeah.
That tells you how far the whole green layout. I've been doing that for about 4 years now. Just because I was looking for some competitive tournament golf.
Right.
And not so much of just,
something you love to do.
Yeah, and not knocking on 4-man scrambles, but those were the only types of tournaments I could find until I fell on the Grint, and I went from a 15 handicap to a 7 handicap, playing against guys every now and then that are 2 or 3 handicaps, and yes, we still get we still play handicap based, but it's still competitive golf, and this took me away from playing the local munis to playing some private courses. I got tournaments at Streamsong, I got tournaments down at Marsh Landings and San Jose, and they had one down at
you're playing on beautiful courses.
Copperhead. Yeah. So it gets me out there and seeing, for me, my favorite part of golf is going to different golf courses. I love going to venues and seeing the different layouts and seeing how the clubhouse works.
What's your favorite? You're gonna throw it out there.
Well, I'm hoping that this year I'm gonna have a new favorite course. So my buddies that we go every May, we're going to the Omni Resort in Champions Gate. So I'm super pumped for that.
Oh man, you can't do that. You can't not. Oh jeez.
Super pumped for that.
That's exciting. Wow.
The one course I'd say is probably one of my favorite is the Reunion. So my uncle-in-law, that's where he lives, and for the past couple of years, I've been going and playing the Watson and the Nicholas course that's there, and I just...
They're always tight courses to begin with, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Super hilly, how Orlando can kind of work out, but the greens have always been pristine, the service is always good, food's always great, so like, those are the type of things that, brings me to golf.
So for people that don't know, where the Omni is, so they can plan their own trip.
Oh, right.
where can you find the Omni?
So there's actually 2 Omni resorts. I found out that there's one in Nocatee as well. But we're going to Champions Gate in Orlando. We've done the Waldorf Astoria down there for a couple of years, and then last year we went to Shingle Creek. But I mean, the Omni just has so many things available for you. Everything's to eats on site. They have night golf. They have a top golf setup that's there. Plus, they have 2 different golf courses, and I think the International just got voted like top 25 in the state. Yeah, I think the state for resort golf. So super excited to try this out, and hopefully this is the place that we go. And we've never brought our families on these, so I'm hoping that this is something that I can bring my kids to.
Yeah.
Because they're involved as well,
and see what it's like to be out there, and
Yes.
And it is pretty out there if you haven't been.
And with my game,
Nice.
I really got lucky to be able to pass the player ability test. So my dad always told me, hey, if your game's improving, find where a test is going to be and play that course over and over and over again. Well, last year the test was at St. John's Golf Club. I probably played that course 100 times. So I was like, I have to give it a try. Like I'm shooting high 70s. Maybe I'll get lucky. Sure enough, I went out there and got lucky. 74, 78
Wow.
to beat the 158. And, and I haven't been able to play golf that well since. So it was great that it happened then. And, and then now I can kind of use that as the motivation to kind of keep up with the game,
Right.
and they had a pretty tight criteria to get started, to get certified. And I didn't realize how much the PGA doesn't want you to do anything with them part-time. After looking at this, and I'm over here like, maybe it's something I can do. They're like, no. If you get this done,
this is what you're doing. Yeah.
So,
wow.
And they really try to keep up with the etiquette. I mean, they want everybody to be, if you're a part of the PGA, it's not
Take us into that. Take us into that. Take us into like what that's like to be in that moment and to do something that, not a lot of people, really get the opportunity to be in this position, which is, I'm sure, you're grateful for it, but like that, it's not something that's easy to do, and easy to be a part of.
There was the kid that I got paired up with. That was his 7th time taking the test, and he's been working in golf his entire life.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, dang man, I just came out here as a high school math teacher, just thinking I can do it. I'm like a 13 handicap, and had a great day. Putting some scores together, and that was probably the worst thing ever, though.
Yeah.
Getting ready to play like member guest tournaments because they're using that as my handicap, and I'm like, man, that was lightning in a bottle.
So it was a beautiful. It was an opportunity that you took advantage of, and you really honed it in, because that's all you get in this world is the opportunities that you're given, and it's up to you to take those into perspective. So tell me a little about the challenge that I think sometimes that I'm sure you face, because for I like to say sandbaggers like myself, like so now you're in this position where you're challenged with all these people, but then like some of your buddies and maybe the people you play with, maybe aren't kind of like on that level. So it's like, how do you hone that in, and like what kind of persona do you have to put yourself into when you get to that perspective of playing with somebody, you're playing with people that are playing 70s golf. Now you're playing people that are like 90s to 100 sandbaggers.
Well, they think I'm gonna shoot a 70 every time I go out there, and I'm like, no, guys, I'll be happy if I shoot an 83 today.
Right.
Because you have to be on every shot. It's not like I can have a bad hole here or a bad hole there. I mean, for me, the goal always is anywhere from 10 to 12 pars. If I can sprinkle in a birdie, then whatever happens on the other ones, whatever happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been made fun of as the rule official when I go places, especially with my buddies. They can't stand.
So how much time do you spend over a ball that's like in a hazard area, or like in a or in the woods?
I want to find my ball because I want to make sure I'm giving myself the correct ruling.
Right, yeah.
But then, like, if I'm playing with my other buddies, like, yeah, it was kind of over here, just kick one out here and hit it. And they're like, you want me to take a penalty on that? I was like, nah, man, you're good. I love the one rule, though, that I wish the PGA would kind of get rid of this is, lift in place in the sense of roots. If there's, I know that you can get in better position, but nobody wants to have a busted hand or anything like that. I'm fine to give people kickouts here, but then at the same
But
time,
what would you say with that person that hit that shot at Pebble Beach this year from that like oak tree?
it's absolutely incredible.
Oh.
And you can get club on a ball like that.
Yeah. If we're alluding to, I don't remember the golfer. I still, it is a well-known golfer, I believe, but it was a shot on the 18th hole. It was like the fourth. It was a par four, and he just went and just hit this ball from like two roots that were like, I would say probably about the size of this each. And then there was like a ball like right in between, and then there's the green, and then they're saying the best shot he's gonna get is in the sand trap.
Yes.
And then he goes and hits a ball 4 feet from the hole. I mean, to explain to explain the level of, I guess, luck plus skill is.
The lie was so bad that it worked out good.
Yeah.
And
It's just. But so much risk. I mean, you're talking about injury, dude. Like that's like that could have been, but the way that it ended.
Right. And like that's like I have that stuff happen, and with myself when you're like, hey, how long, you're looking for a ball here or how long you're standing over. Sometimes I won't because I want that challenge because, well, what happens if that happens in a tournament?
Right.
Like I hate gimme putts. No, make me make that 3 or 4 footer.
Right.
And if you've played with me regularly, you want to make me make that putt because I'll miss it.
Well, you're making me want to golf with you because I need to get better at my game a little bit. So, all right. So we have a little bit of time left. I definitely would love to go on for hours on this because this is so cool, and I can't wait for part 2 because there may be. We'll see.
We'll get a little work at the course.
Exactly
around the green.
So, so when it comes to the Masters, right? You kind of alluded to it earlier, talking about Scotty Scheffler and talking. What is it about the Masters that makes it so challenging? Just not, talk about the prolific, the history, everything that happened in Augusta. What makes it so challenging of a golf course, and why it's so prestigious, even for players when they're starting that round?
I mean, they even cut it on purpose to where you're hitting from the fairway in the grain and then the rough is with it. So it's like, plus they've put all these new obstacles, how much farther it is, where the people can sit. I mean, it's wild. I mean, the viewing has grown. So I know these guys definitely feel the sense of that. I mean,
right.
I mean, it's like playing outfield in Yankee Stadium and Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio are out there and like, yo, I got these ghosts around me.
Yeah.
So who even knows? And, I mean, it's only 6 years since Tiger was out there,
right,
being
and then
a force.
Right. When he won, and geez, man, I wish you could. Obviously, all of us wish he can play this year. That would be.
Right. It was a great April Fool's joke.
It was a great April Fool's joke. It was one that I think a lot of us fell for a second.
Yes, at least give him a cart. Don't make the guy walk.
Yeah, I mean, come on, give him some break.
Yeah, so I mean, these guys definitely see that it's their opportunity at a legacy. Even for someone who hasn't had the opportunity, and sure enough, they got out there to play. So I think that they see and feel the weight of that. And I mean, I can't. What's going on today with a couple of the other events? Did they already have their caddy tournament? I love when
I think so. Yeah. It's like it was the caddy tournament. Yeah, it's like the caddy tournament where they. What is it? Don't they have like a father-son tournament?
Yes. I remember Bubba's kid, his daughter last year made some ridiculous lag putts and and that's the other thing that I enjoy about the Masters is now I can show my kids families out there on the golf course.
Yeah.
And even though it's a serious tournament, everybody's just having a good time.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think is so great is because it is something that it's all encompassing in this whole week, right? Like it's not just about the tournament itself. It's about everything else that goes around it that kind of relates to the human experience of what golf is. Not to say these guys are superhuman, but I mean, come on.
Right.
No, but like when it comes to that, it's like that human element of what golf really is, right? Like you have your bad days, you have your good days, you have bad shots, you have good shots, right? Speak to that a little bit when it comes to life.
So with my daughters, they are now noticing hey, Daddy's going to talk about how beautiful the golf course is. Daddy's going to talk about how good the food was.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about how nice the people were that you ran into. So I'm trying to have them use golf as a way to see how you want to identify yourself with other people and the people that are around you. And even if it's a bad day, hey, they're still going to come in, have a good time, you know, and everybody's so encouraging when they're out there, you know, good, bad, great weather, bad weather, you know, I'm starting to really pick that up. And that's another thing to encourage people with golf, you know, go out there and make some friends, you know, watch some golf, see how fun it is. Laugh at your bad shots, laugh at your good shots, you know.
I'm laughing at my bad shot I had 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, and what's so funny is that bad shot could have left to a great shot, and your great shot could have left to a bad shot. I don't know how many times, you know, you've had a great drive off the tee, and then now your next shot's coming out of a bunker or behind a tree,
right?
And now you're missing the green. Or you hit a tee shot behind a tree, and then sure enough, you weaseled one out to the front of the green, chipped up, parred it. And you're like, I didn't even hit a good shot.
I didn't even know how I did that. Yeah, and there's sometimes too where it's like you don't feel like you had a bad shot, and you still walk away with bogey. I mean, it's like how does that happen? All right, so again, like we just have a couple of minutes left. You alluded to it earlier, but I want you to restate it. Well, actually, you know what? I want to hear your top 3 picks. Your top 3 picks to win the Masters, and on top of that, who you think the lowest score is going to who's going to walk away with the lowest score out of the 4 rounds come day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4.
So, one of my students who plays golf, he says I got to put a vote in for Woo.
Oh, man, really?
He wants him to have a hot day 1.
Okay.
And be in the discussion as it goes throughout, so I'll give him that.
Okay.
I think Scotty's going to have like a 66 round out there one of these days. He's just going to go up there and light it up.
Man. What about Rory? Like, what's your opinion on Rory? Because everyone is talking about it. Everyone wants him. They feel like it's his year because of the players and because of at Pebble Beach, the Pro-Am. What's your opinion on that?
Well, with how he finished with the players, I wasn't even paying attention to him until the last couple of days. And I'm like, wow, he really came in roaring back. So, I mean, for him to come in and he's due. Like, this would be huge for him and, you know, creating that legacy of him being one of the greatest golfers of all time. Man. So, I mean...
and he's honed in his iron play at least a little bit. I mean, you know,
Oh, yeah. And, I mean... These guys have been here before. You know that they're putting in the work, you know, trying to be prepared for this. I mean, I know the course is going to play to strength of his coming off the tee. Right. So I know they had some rain up there. So, well, I could see.
But that's just where it begins.
So, I mean, those 4 guys would be great finishing up. I mean, I don't know. And then you could throw out some fan favorite names. You know, I mean, you got Rahm's gonna, you know, coming off a good play down in Miami's as well. I know Phil wants to be exciting out there.
Of course.
So I don't know. Those guys would be great to see in. I know that I'm gonna try to keep my kids watching this. One thing I like to do in the classroom, since I've been coaching golf the last 4 years, we watch the Masters on Thursday and Friday.
Oh, I love that.
So the way how I kind of set up my schedule this week, they just finished testing today. So all we're doing is getting introduced into a new topic, couple questions. All right, Masters time.
Masters time. Let's watch the Masters. Do you lay out any putting ranges or anything like that?
No, that might be something different to do this year. Yeah. That'd be cool. Putting for extra credit.
Yeah, come on now.
Putting for points. So it'd be fun to do. I know they would get a good time out of it.
Well, I tell you what, this has been a really amazing interview and amazing podcast, and it's been really such a pleasure to have you on. So again, your pick to win the Masters, go. Scotty all day.
I want Scotty all day. I think that'd be great for him. You know, he's got the one last year, getting another one. I just want him owning it. You know, he hasn't had a great finish and finishing out the year for a tour championship. This would be huge points for him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, I like seeing records broken
all day.
You know, and so to think that, hey, how could you ever catch Tiger? No, go for wins.
Yeah.
Don't worry about being number one. Get the win. See where you can finish up on that.
Stay present.
Stay present. Same thing with Rory.
Yeah.
Seeing those two guys finishing up at the end would be amazing.
Can you imagine a playoff hole? Rory and Scotty at the Masters,
Haven't we had a playoff the last couple of years too? Or am I thinking of a different tournament?
Yeah, I think no. Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll have to do more research. Apparently, this whole episode we got to do some more research. But his win, Scotty Scheffler. That prediction is sponsored by TaylorMade. Introducing the QI10. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that.
Get yourself some P790s. They're good. They're definitely cheaper now.
Yeah. I enjoy hitting TaylorMades, man. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot more fun to hit than I for some reason I can't hit a Srixon to save my life.
No, I'm all right.
Well, Zach, this has been a real pleasure and an honor to have you on, and just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on.
Glad for the invite.
Yeah. Well, this wraps up another episode of Vinny's Vibe. Again, want to thank the Flagler County Drug Court Foundation for sponsoring this Masters Week. It's going to be a lot of fun going into the Masters. And if you haven't got a chance to go out and golf, go out and golf. Go to the driving range for 5 minutes, but go out there and be there at that first tee, and just allude to it. Just do it. Just do it. That's Vinny from Vinny's Vibe, telling you to go dive into your vibe. We'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.